Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today I will show you the recap of a 2018 horror sci-fi film titled Bird Box. As always, spoiler alert, watch out, and take care. In the opening scene, a radio announcement is heard urging any survivors to make haste towards a rescue center as a catastrophic event is currently underway, resulting in mass loss of life. The scene then shifts to a mother of two, issuing stern warnings to her 5-year-olds as she prepares them for a risky journey to the rescue center, which is miles down a long river. The announcement had advised that the fastest and safest route to the center is through the river, but carrying children along is a big impediment. However, this mother is prepared for the worst. Among the rules she sets for her kids is to always keep their blindfolds on, and the second rule is to remain silent throughout the journey and alert her if they hear anything. The kids nod in agreement, as their mom sharply instructs them and threatens to hurt them if they break the rules. Shortly afterward, the trio packs up their pets and puts on their blindfolds as they exit the house. They rush down the terrain while following a pre-tied line that gives them directions. Before long, they get to the river and track down a boat, which they board to embark on their journey. The movie then cuts back 5 years to show the genesis of all of these ugly events and explains why they have to wear blindfolds. A pregnant woman named Malorie is joined by her sister, Jess, as she prepares for her regular prenatal visits. An artistic Mal is consumed by her work and lags on current affairs. Jess informs her of the events taking place in the East, including Russia, where people are killing themselves. However, Malorie doesn't pay much attention to it, saying it's too far away for her to worry about all that chaos. The duo finally heads over for the checkup and are attended to by a friendly doctor. On her way out, Malorie, who was just left behind to use the restroom, witnesses a woman repeatedly hitting her head, clearly determined to kill herself. It now dawns on her that the strange occurrences have finally arrived, and she rushes to join Jess. Jess quickly drives through the now chaotic town as people run wildly for their lives. Suddenly, Mal's phone rings from her backpack, and she turns to pick it up. Something strange happens to Jess as her eyes turn brown. She seems troubled and alludes to seeing something terrifying that Mal doesn't see herself. Jess crashes into a stationary car before Mal can take control. Mal makes her way out of the car, but then sees Jess jump into a moving truck, which finishes her off. Mal is left with no option but to run for her life, like many others. She trips and falls, but luckily a couple spots her, and the woman comes to her aid. The woman barely helps Mal out before going insane herself and entering a burning car that explodes. A man named Tom then picks up Mal, and they both run for a nearby house before being joined by a policewoman. Inside, a group of 5 congregates and is joined by others, including Douglas, whose wife went insane while helping Mal. As everyone shares their experiences, Tom explains that looking at the entity causes disorientation and the urge to harm oneself until death. He instructs everyone to close and cover the windows as the news instructs people to stay indoors. However, there is not much information available on the ongoing chaos as network coverage shuts down. We then cut back to Mal's journey with her kids, 6 hours down the river. And everything seems to be running smoothly. Mal tries to radio the rescue center while the kids sleep, but she receives no response. However, she doesn't stop the journey downstream. 8 hours later, a person's voice calls out to them, offering the help. However, the person becomes suspicious when he insists that they take off their blindfolds. Mal harms herself with her Glock as the man approaches them and tells the kids to lie down. She shoots repeatedly, but the man manages to grab her as he can see, unlike Mal, who is wearing her blindfold. He tries to remove her blindfold, but Mal manages to neutralize him using a machete. As they drift away, they hear the man saying that everyone must look to get cleansed. However, Mal doesn't seem confused by the man's ability to see and not harm himself. We cut back to the genesis of the story, as the group gets accustomed to their strange survival living. A few hours into the apocalypse, they hear a knock at the door, and a lady calls out for help. Fortunately, nothing bad happens as it turns out to be a pregnant lady with a blindfold on, who has been knocking on doors seeking help. With the increasing demand for food against this scarce supply, it's not long before they run out of food. The house owner suggests that they try using CCTV cameras to scout the outside since it offers an indirect view of the entity. In case it is safe, they can improvise and use them to scout for food. However, this needs to be tested, and he offers to take the risk and test it himself. They tie him up to a chair to prevent him from doing the unthinkable, in case it fails. Everything goes as planned until they hear the commotion from the room, and they rush to check it out. The guy flipped over his chair and hit his head, killing him instantly. They smash the monitor and get back to the drawing board, since they need a solution fast enough so they can stay alive. Their last resort is to head over to the supermarket to fetch food, with the help of one of the members, Charlie, who worked there and locked up the place when the pandemonium broke out. Tom is joined by Mel, Douglas, Charlie, and the police lady. They cover the car's windows and rely on the car's GPS to navigate their way, with the added advantage of the car's proximity sensors. They set off for the market and drive over bodies and around vehicles until they reach their destination. With Charlie's help, they access the supermarket and cover the windows before getting down to business. Everyone is relieved to see the endless supplies, and Douglas even suggests staying there. However, before they can discuss how to rescue those they have left behind, they hear a knock on a locked door. A man in agony begs them to let him in, and Tom is ready to do so. He slightly opens the door, and Charlie immediately recognizes him as an ex-convict who is sometimes crazy. The man works in the store and asks Charlie to let him in, but as they continuously question him, he loses it. He asks Charlie to have a look, and it becomes clear that he is up to no good. Unfortunately, he is super strong and almost overwhelms them as he pushes the door hard. Charlie sacrifices himself and runs through the door, pushing both of them inside, and the door is locked. Charlie immediately commits the unthinkable as he sees the entity. The entity has seemingly recruited the criminally insane in its motive to dominate humans. This is the reason Mal wasn't shocked when she was encountered by the man at the river years later. They head back home and are received with warm smiles for saving lives. However, this is cut short when the police lady escapes in the car alongside a member of the group who was having an affair. With enough supplies, the rest remain calm, and Tom keeps close to Mal to help her out. Their bond grows with time, and a few months later, the two ladies coincidentally sire newborns on the same day. Their happiness is, however, cut short when one of the criminally insane invades the home and opens the windows. This, coupled with his ability to see, helps him eliminate the majority of the members before Tom manages to take him out. Mal is left with her newborn boy alongside a girl left by her deceased mother. We then fast forward 5 years later, and the children have grown considerably under the care of Tom and Mal. For her own reasons, Mal has chosen to name them Boy and Girl. They all thrive as a family and spend their days exploring and hunting for food, while Tom tells them stories at dusk. One day their radio picks up a broadcast from a man who introduces himself as Rick. He claims to have sort of a rescue center. However, when he asks about their location and how many they are, Mal becomes suspicious of him. Tom, on the other hand, follows Rick's directions about his location and how to navigate through. Since they are far away, their only option is to travel by river, which will take them 2 days. Though Mel is pessimistic about the idea, Tom prepares adequately for the journey in case of any issues. True to his intuition, they are attacked by the criminals and Tom chooses to stay behind to hold the fort. This gives Mal and the children a chance to escape under strict instructions from Tom. He asks Mal to begin the journey if he does not make it to them in 15 minutes. The criminals are armed, but Tom, being an ex-Marine, manages to take out 2 of them. Sadly, they spot Mal getting away, which forces Tom to remove his blindfold to neutralize them. He succeeds, but is eventually overrun by the creatures and sacrifices himself to save Mal and the children. Mal follows Tom's orders and prepares the kids for the journey as we saw at the start of the movie. However, Tom doesn't show up, and Mal makes her way to the river and retrieves the hidden boat. We cut back to Mal's journey with the kids as they approach some rapids. According to Rick, they are close, but to make it, one of the members must look to offer navigational help. Mal is faced with a dilemma, as she must choose who looks amongst the 2 kids. She obviously can't sacrifice her own, but she still feels guilty about sacrificing the little girl. Finally, she decides that no one will look, and they will row against the odds. She asks them to hold tight, and the trio moves through the rough rapids. But before long, their boat capsizes. After a long struggle, Mal finally gets a hold of the kids, and they head into the woods. According to Rick, they must follow the birds' chirpings until they find a wall and trace the gate. They wander through the forest for some time, and the creature's ability manifests itself. They manipulate her by mimicking the voices of people close to her, asking her to remove her blindfold. She doesn't heed their request and she soldiers on, but unfortunately, she trips and falls. She is momentarily separated from the kids, who slowly part ways with time. The creatures once again mimic Mal's voice and instruct the kids to remove their blindfolds. The children are tempted to do so, but their reluctance as they question the safety buys Mal some time to find them. They make a run, following the birds' chirpings as the unseen entities come after them. Tree branches move as they trail her, but she holds tightly to the kids and speeds off. After a rough chase, she finally finds the gate and knocks repeatedly. To her relief, they are let in. Their eyes are checked to ensure they aren't part of the criminals, and they are welcome inside. They finally meet Rick and realize that the center is a school for the visually impaired. This means that all the occupants have survived, and called all the other survivors to join them. The birds there act as a warning to them when the creatures are around. Coincidentally, the doctor who monitored Mal's pregnancy made it there, and picks up the kids to play. For the first time in their lives, they play with other kids and they enjoy it to the fullest. As a dedication to all mothers out there, we also offer a shout out to Tom for his sacrifice as a father. The movie ends as people interact with each other in the beautiful and peaceful center. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for even more content. And if you have a movie you'd like us to recap, let us know in the comment section below, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.